This is Chapter 2 of the Logic Model Development Guide by the W.K. Kellogg Foundation, and it is developing a basic logic model for your program. The idea that most basic logic models give evaluators and stakeholders the opportunity to use pictures and/or words to represent activities and resources intended to bring about specific change to a program is a key point actually from Chapter 1. However, it is a thread that runs throughout the first 3 chapters of the Logic Model Development Guide, and thus is an appropriate place to begin our discussion as we delve into Chapter 2. As the chapter walks us through the process of developing a basic logic model, it focuses our attention on 2 critical components: program results, what is planned to be achieved through the program, and program implementation through connecting resources and activities. Before we move to those facets, let's first look at addressing important program planning and evaluation issues. Each of the program planning and evaluation issues relate to the anticipated outcomes as a result of activities data and resources. They are addressed within the logic model itself as a means to identify factors that will affect a program and, in turn, affect the outcomes of that program. The first is cataloging of the resources and actions that you believe you will need in order to reach intended results. In addition to that is the documentation of connections between your available resources, your planned activities, and the results that you expect to achieve. Lastly is the description of the results that you are aiming for in terms of specific, measurable, action-oriented, realistic, and timed outcomes, those SMART goals. All results within outcomes and impacts should be SMART. Of course, we can all agree on the importance of documented progress toward change throughout the entire evaluation, and oftentimes beyond the life of the evaluation itself. However, when documenting the progress toward program change and effectiveness, it's necessary to have a clear understanding of the difference between outcomes versus outputs. Outputs are evidences of service delivery. In other words, evidence that the activities planned in order to address the problem are in fact underway or completed, whereas the outcomes, both short-term and long-term, are anticipated changes resulting from the activities. Chapter 2 uses the following My Town Free Clinic example to illustrate this difference. It states that being seen by a doctor is different from reducing the number of uninsured emergency room visits, which is actually an anticipated impact of the program. Tracking data like meetings held or patients enrolled does monitor the program's implementation and performance, but those data are outputs. They're activity data, not outcomes, which refer to the results you expect to achieve in future years. In relation to the actual development of a logic model, the W.K. Kellogg Foundation suggests beginning with outcomes. Similar to the model of backward planning that we use in the field of education specific to curriculum development, beginning a logic model with your intended results allows you to assess your progress toward change throughout the implementation of the program. In addition, beginning with the ends in mind increases the likelihood that complications will be noticed and addressed if and when they arise. As such, the intended results comprising of outputs, outcomes, and impact can be modified and adjusted as needed based on the data collected throughout the program. Let's look at the exercises that will help us in preparation of developing our own basic logic models. Exercise 1 assists us with establishing reasonable proof that a given program was in fact the major contributor to the intended change, as opposed to another influence outside of the control of the evaluator and stakeholders. Without a well-crafted logic model, scientific certainty of this proof is extremely difficult and seldom occurs. Exercise number 1 instructs that the outcomes and impacts desired from the program be filled out on the logic model first. This includes all results ranging from 1 year of implementation through 10 years. It's important to remember that these anticipated results should be shown as SMART goals. After these columns of the model have been completed, the output column is then to be completed, and that's the data regarding the activities. The quality of the logic model being developed can be assessed by the use of the Exercise 1 checklist that is found within the guide. Moving on to Exercise 2, this exercise addresses program implementation and links the expected results of the program with the activities and resources needed to make them happen. It's critical at this stage to pull in best practice literature reviews on the problem, and evaluator know-how in order to support the work. As with Exercise 1, at the conclusion of this exercise, a checklist can be completed to assess the quality of the draft. If a program addresses multiple issues, it can be very beneficial to complete each exercise for individual issues and then combine the work to create a larger model. The overall process of developing a logic model enhances the understanding of both the purpose and the process of the work within an organization by illustrating how and why a program will work as well as what it will achieve. It's also important to the understanding of those outside of the organization to have a full understanding of the work being done. Chapter 2 of the Logic Model Development Guide ends with a flow chart illustrating its suggested order of the development of a logic model. I've attached a chart that specifies that order. You might notice some inconsistency in the order suggested on the chart in comparison to the order that was practiced as we completed the logic model within the chapter on the MyTown program. The order of the logic model development on this slide parallels that shown on the flow chart on page 24 of the guide. It can be used as we begin the process of creating our own logic models and can be added upon to describe relationships with greater clarity using things such as numbered items, rows, or boxes and arrows. Thanks, and I hope this presentation has been a benefit to you as we continue to enhance our understanding of logic models and as we develop our own. Have a wonderful day.